You can start.
Yesterday was a dream. Tomorrow is a vision. But a day well lived makes every day a dream of happiness and every tomorrow a vision of hope. The common man expected a booster budget with a tax concessions and announcement of new schemes. Does the Union Budget of 2022 actually deliver to the expectations of general people, or does it challenge the old practices and mark the beginning of an era of a change? Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be in the presence of the wonderful audience who have joined us today. I, Sarthak Bhatia, welcome you all on the behalf of University School of Management Studies to this with Lation 2022 to 2023 organized by the Financial Research Group of USMS. GGSIPU is a teaching and affiliating university. Its objective is to facilitate and promote studies, research, and extension work in emerging areas of higher education with a focus of professional education such as engineering, technology, management studies, medicine, pharmacy, nursing, law, etc. In USMS, exceptional teaching and learning skills are employed to impart knowledge to the students. Here, students learn through various management exercises, case studies, analysis, lectures, and projects, which helps the students in developing analytical skills and preparing themselves to become competent enough to understand the dynamics of a business environment. The Financial Research Group aspires to combine frontiers like research in finance and integrating them with Indian reality so as to create new knowledge and apply the knowledge for improved decision making in government and in the financial industry. I thank everyone for giving their precious time. Before moving forward, let me acknowledge the presence of our eminent guest, Professor A.K. Saini, Dean USMS, our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Anil Kumar from SRCC, Delhi University, Professor Deepak Tandon from IMI Delhi, and CA Deenal Shah from ICAI. Our faculty coordinators, Dr. Divya Verma and Dr. Gagandeep Sharma. So valuing the precious time of all, let us begin and unfold the awaiting events. Now I would like to request Divya Verma ma'am to welcome our honorable guest.
A heartfelt welcome to our worthy Dean, Professor A.K. Saini, our guest speakers, distinguished panelists of the day, Professor Anil Kumar from SRCC, Professor Deepak Tandon. Mr. Deenal Shah is going to join us shortly, and my co-coordinator, Dr. Gagandeep Sharma. Welcome you all to USMS for discussing about an important annual event of Financial Research Group team, which we have been organizing for last many years. And we hope that our learnings keep on improving like this, year-on-year basis, and we together learn and help in transforming India, not taking much time. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time and joining us today in this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Professor Anil K. Saini is currently Professor and Dean of the University School of Management Studies, USMS, Director, Industry Interaction Cell, and Director Development of GGSIPU University, New Delhi. There is the Member Secretary of Indraprastha Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the university and obtained his doctorate degree from FMS Delhi University in the area of information systems. He has an experience of more than 35 years in teaching and in the industry. His books and papers have also been published in national and international journals, and he is a fellow and senior member of several professional societies such as Computer Society of India, Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, All India Management Association, Operational Research Society of India, etc. He has also served as Secretary and Chairman of IETE Delhi Center, Treasurer of IETE during 2010 to 2012, Chairman, Board of Examination, Zonal Coordinator, Chairman, Publications Committee 2018 to 2019 and 2020 to 2021, and is currently the Vice President of IETE. He is also serving as an independent director in a Section 8 company of the ICAI. Sir, now I would request you to address us with your enlightening words.
Thank you, Sarthak. So at the very outset, let me uh, thank all our esteemed panelists today, my experts as well as my friends, Professor Anil Kumar from Shriram College of Commerce, uh, as well as Professor Deepak Tandon from IMI. We also have our expert from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Mr. Dinal Shah. And I think with these three experts, we are going to have a wonderful time in understanding the whole budget, because as we all know that budget basically is one of the important component of any economy. And this is something which actually contributes and basically makes or break a country, because it contributes to the economic prosperity of the nation itself. It is also important because if you see it has relevance to each individual, because we look at the tax regimes and all that. And at the same time, it is also looking at the small scale industries as well as the big industries, so that they all can contribute to the economic development of the country. I think in this, all these experts, they have got wide experience, and they are the important voice when you talk of the budget analysis, because we are looking at not only budget analysis, how basically it's going to impact and at transforming India. Because our Prime Minister has given us a target of $5 trillion economy. I think that how we are inching towards that and how much we are away from it, that basically is important to understand. And how this budget, which basically is the budget of what's called the Amrit Mahotsav or Amrit Kal. So that this is how basically is going to be as a addressing all those issues and working towards achieving these objectives. If you see in short, basically this budget 2022, which I have seen from my perspective, is that it is trying to promote technology, and there's one domain. It is also trying to focus on energy transition and climate the perspective also. It is also trying to basically encourage private investment and public capital investment also. We have seen the projects which are basically working towards inclusive development and productivity enhancement. These are some of the major areas, like say project like Gati Shakti, which actually is going to transform the whole economy, and the process of completing the expresses and integrating all different components of the economy. It is also trying to look at the agriculture sector and food processing sector also. It has, in fact, we have seen good kind of announcements in this budget, which are talking of utilization of quality education, skill development. We have seen from the health perspective, because we all have suffered in this pandemic time from the corona. So this is also talking of national digital health ecosystem to be developed and set up, tele mental health programs also to be there. It is addressing some of the issues from that sector also. And if you see overall, it is also talking of certain, let's say that the Prime Minister Awas Yojana also is basically trying to set a target for the next year, that about 80 lakhs home are going to be given to them. Like this, there are so many announcements. But how these announcements are going to make an impact, especially when you talk of MSME, which is the backbone of any economy as such, how they're going to really get benefit from this, and it's going to transform the Indian economy. I think we have these experts, and I'm sure the deliberations and insights which are going to be provided by these experts, they are going to contribute to our learning and really make us understand more clearly and in a focused manner how this is going to really help our economy, and each one of us actually is going to be benefited or impacted by that also. So thank you so much, and I wish the coordinators of the program to I thank them for organizing such a wonderful event, especially when we had just announced we got the announcement of the budget, and the debate is going on. I think this is going to be useful to all the students who are pursuing different courses on finance also. Thank you so much, and I wish all the best. All the learners, please learn from this, understand from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Your thought provoking address sets a perfect platform for our college. So now, we would like to invite our first honorable chief guest, that is Professor Anil Kumar. Sir is an associate professor at Sri Ram College of Commerce, SRCC, Delhi University, and has a research expertise in corporate governance, CSR, and financial literacy. He was awarded a Ph.D. degree by the University of Delhi for his thesis on corporate governance and is a life member and national executive member at Indian Accounting Association. He has authored many books, contributed to a number of research articles in national and international journals, conducted several executive development and training programs for government officers, corporate executives, and directors, and is a leading consultant for higher education and CSR. He is founder of Vidshala, launched by the Union's Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, to spread financial education across the country, and has experience of over 30 years in teaching, research, training, and consultancy. So we welcome you to this session and we would like you to share a few words of wisdom with our audience.
Thank you, Sarthak. Good afternoon, everyone. And my good friend, Professor A.K. Saini, Dr. Professor Deepak Tandonji, Dr. Divya Verma, the coordinator for this program, other faculty members, and dear students. It's really a pleasure to be here and share some of my thoughts. As you said in the beginning, Sarthak said in the beginning that, whenever the budget is presented, everywhere there is a hype. And especially the hype is there, so far the salaried class people are concerned, the middle class people are concerned, that how much is going to be the changes in the tax rate. I know that when I was, just in school, I used to listen to budget speech. And before that, we used to make speculation. Kya sasta hoga, kya महंगा होगा. So I fail to recognize why every year these kind of adjustments have to be made. And this time, and to some extent last time also, our finance minister said that I am putting a budget which is going to be the vision for the next 25 years. What does it mean? Budget is just not a statement of revenues and expenditures of the government. You know that we live in democracy where the basic principle of democracy is that not a single penny can be spent without the concurrence of the parliament, and not a single tax can be raised against the without the concurrence of the parliament. But then now we do not have the 5-year plan kind of a thing. It has been done away with. So that means the budget is going to be the policy direction for the economy, for the government. That what is going to be the policies of the government. And the policies cannot keep on changing every year, especially when the policies are directed towards the development of the country. Development is not a matter of 6 months or just 1 year. Because for development, you have to make investment in many sectors of the economy, and this is what has been done in this budget. So that is why it's very important that to decipher this budget and see that whether it is going to transform our country really or not. I think that's the big question so far this budget is concerned. India, there's a robust recovery of the pandemic hit Indian economy. We know that we were the worst sufferer of this pandemic, and there was shut down for more than 2 months, and there was a kind of recession in our economy. Of course, that was not different from this story elsewhere else because everyone was suffering because of that. But then the government came out with, let's relate this budget in the light of the announcements which have been made in the last 2 years. You remember that in the month of May 2020, a package of 21 lakh crore called Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan was announced by the government. And that package was not just the package of distributing money. Of course, it had the elements of that PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, Ann Yojana, where can you imagine that 80 crore people, they are distributed free ration for the last how many months now? 16 months, and government has extended this for another 3 months. It's not a joke. 80 crore people free ration for 18 or 19 months. That requires a budgetary support. And it has been done. And second thing is, 90% of the eligible adults, they have been vaccinated against corona. All free vaccination. And 75% of the population is fully vaccinated. From where the funds would come? The other way is, last year also, people were saying ki kya kam hoga, but we were expecting that there's going to be corona cess, there's going to be health cess. And in fact, I was expecting that from where the resources would come. So, of course, government has the other ways of raising the resources, that is through disinvestment. And to a larger extent, it has been successful. Some disinvestment has been planned for the next years also. Now, the fact of the matter is, the another problem which we are facing right now is that of creation of jobs. Many sectors and many people have been worst affected because of slowdown, because of corona, and everywhere. This has become a big election issue in the elections which are going to be held in UP and other states. Unemployment. And in fact, many people were making this speculation that this is going to be the election budget. Election budget means the government would announce some freebies. Okay, ye bhi free kiya, wo bhi free kiya, just to win some votes. But that did not happen. The government made it clear the fundamentals of our economy are very strong right now. Very strong. Can you imagine in the month of January, we had a record collection of GST, nearing about 1.50 lakh crore in a single month. Our direct tax estimates have been record. Our crops have been bumper, whether it's wheat or whether it is rice or other such crops. Fundamentals are very clear, they are very strong. And this is indicated by the rate of GDP growth also. This year, we're expected to grow by 9.2%. We are the fastest developing economy in the world. We have surpassed even the Chinese economy. And for the next year also, the growth rate is expected to be 8 to 8.5%. So we have to sustain this momentum of growth. And that growth which is inclusive, which can provide jobs to the people also. And our economy is predominantly agriculture-based economy. 50% of the population is dependent on agriculture. And this 50% of the population just contribute about 19% to the GDP. You can see the productivity of the people and the income level from the agriculture has to be low. So that means the budget has to be focused in case you are serious about the development of the country, you are serious about providing the jobs, you are serious about inclusive development of the economy. The focus of the budget has to be on creation of jobs and on agriculture. And this is what has been done in this year's budget. How the jobs would come. Jobs would come, you are all management students, you understand it very well, that if you make investment, where? In capital assets. So last year, there was increase in the outlay for the capital expenditure about 34%. This year again, in this budget, it is provided that the expenditure on capital assets, including infrastructure, is going to increase by another 35%. public investment. Where? In creation of infrastructure. And when we spend on infrastructure, please remember, it has a multiplier effect. And we generally estimate that this multiplier effect is 2.5%, 2.5 times to 3 times. That means if you're spending rupee 1 on infrastructure, the increase in GDP would be 3 times of that. It would also create jobs. And it would also increase our connectivity. It will also ease the doing of business also. Last year, this Gati Shakti platform was announced by the government in October. That is to ensure the integrated planning and implementation of infrastructure projects through monitoring on a real-time basis and providing seamless connectivity. Connecting highways, railways, waterways, and building the terminals. So in this year's budget, you will see that a massive investment is proposed in the infrastructure sector. And this infrastructure sector investment is not one-time investment. If you initiate the project today, it needs the budgetary support for another 5 years. That is why the budget cannot be just annual exercise. The vision has to be longer. Only that can transform our country. So in this year's budget, the national highway network is proposed to be expanded by rupee 25,000 kilometers. Imagine 25,000 kilometers in 1 year. How much jobs it will create, how much boost it will have on the steel industry, on the cement industry, on the employment scene also, and all the ancillary and connected industries. Then the budget talks about creation of digital infrastructure. In fact, as Professor Saini also mentioned, that technology has been one of the main area of the focus. So I would say that this budget, the direction of the budget is let the development be technologically driven. And this is what has been provided in this budget. Then the multimodal national park would be awarded. Another thing, one product, one railway station. You know, some new concept. What is this? One station, one railway station in one product. You might have traveled through a train, you know, then you might have seen that if Agra comes, Agra ka petha, Mathura comes, Mathura ka, what is this, peda. Most of these stations are known by these products. So these products have the export potentials also. Why don't you encourage the production of these products so that these can become scalable and also these can be exported also. 400 new Vande Mataram trains. That means it will, fasten the connectivity also. And 100 PM Gati Shakti terminals that is going to be set up in the next 3 years. That means the railway lines are connected with the roadways, or roadways connected to the railway lines to the ports. That would reduce the logistic expenses, logistic cost. The estimation is the logistic cost would decrease by 8 to 10%. There's another aspect to this. Besides public investment, the private investment is to be promoted. And the foreign investors are to be invited for that. Our Prime Minister has been saying, going all around the world, asking the investors, please come here and invest. Because under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, we want to become the part of the global supply chain. Why the investors would invest here? In case it is cost effective. That means logistic costs are reduced In case there is a ease of doing business. Under ease of doing business, we are doing exceptionally well. This budget announced that we have eliminated 75,000 compliances. Imagine 75,000 compliances have been eliminated. And ease of doing business 2.0 is going to be launched. This is announced in this year's budget. One of the roadblock has been the digitization of land records. As Professor Seni also mentioned, the focus is on technology. That means land records. The move has been started that some states which have not digitized their land records, they should digitize the land records. And I said that the development has to be all inclusive. And development is something where everyone has to cooperate. Sabka prayas. That means the state governments have to become the equal partner so far development is concerned. And in this budget, rupees 1 lakh crore additional financing, which is interest free, has been proposed to the state governments also. But that is conditional on undertaking some of the reforms. Now, coming back to this, the job creation, how the jobs would come through public investment, I have discussed about it. Another is through private investment. The government has made it clear that role of the government is not to do the business. Role of the government is to act as the facilitator. Less government, more governance, to ensure that the private sector acts in the interest of the company. There is inclusive development, and whatever are the priorities of our government, those priorities are to be kept in mind while undertaking the investment. Defense sector has been opened up. In the manufacturing sector is something which promote many jobs. Already some bold reforms have been done, and one of the boldest reform I would say is PLI scheme. You must have heard about it. Production linked incentive plan. You want to invite the investors to make investment here, make in India. How to make them cost competitive. So the incentive is given to them that if you, whatever you produce, some additional kind of a subsidy, that is production linked incentive, would be given to you so that your product, your services are competitive. In this year's budget, one more sector has been added in the PLI scheme. For the new investments, you know it. Our direct tax rate is one of the minimum now in the world. Do you know what's the rate of taxation for the new investment in manufacturing sector? Just 15%. And many people were criticizing when this was introduced that why 15% for the companies? It is not for the companies. It is for the manufacturing companies who want to set up their new investments in the country. To promote the investments, only that will bring the jobs. The focus has been on the MSME sector. In the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, rupees 3 lakh crore was extended to MSME sector. That is collateral free. Any guarantee, no guarantee, government would give the guarantee. The working capital loan would be given to MSME sector. Now, in this year's budget, this provision has been made 5 lakh crore. This additional 2 lakh, bulk of it will go for the tourism sector. This sector is something which needs some, what should I say, booster dose from the government. Collateral free loan. Whenever you understand, all commerce and management students, that once a business is closed down because of supply disruption, because of the lockdowns, to restart it, working capital is needed. And MSME is the sector which has the huge job potentials. 60 lakh jobs are planned in the next 5 years through investment, through promoting of MSME sector. This budget also talks about creation of digital ecosystem. So next is, I will just take briefly the agriculture sector. In the agriculture sector, people have been criticizing the government, that government is against the farmers and things like that. This year's budget provides for payment of rupees 2.3 lakh, 37 lakh crore towards MSME for procurement of wheat and paddy under MSME. Another thing, you must have heard about it, that government has announced Mota Anaj here. What is this? Mota Anaj means millets. You know that many small farmers, they used to grow millets, but suddenly, slowly, the demand for millets came down. It became unsustainable. But millet is something that which is very high in fiber. So the government is going to promote the use of millets through introduction of innovative products of millets. And the farmers would be encouraged to produce millets. So that means the small farmers would be taken care of through millets. The railway will also develop new products for the small farmers. Another thing is that our import budget, import bill for oil seed has been substantial. So this budget in the agriculture field announced a rationalized scheme to increase domestic oil seed production. Then use of technology, which Professor Sani mentioned. Kisan drones will be used for crop assessment. For making the policy, it's very important to assess that how much, that what the stage of that, whether the harvesting time for the crop has come or not. And the drones would be used for spraying for insecticides also, spraying the insecticides, and for land records also. Ken Betwa River, this has been a blessing for the people in Bundelkhand region. That project is virtually over and would be dedicated to it. It will solve the irrigation problem of the drought hit that area. Another 5 river links is going to be finalized. You must have heard that in India, there are some regions which are hit by drought and there are some regions which have floods. So how, if we can connect these two regions, that is through linking the rivers, it will solve most of the problem. For the first time, the startups for the rural enterprises have been proposed in this budget. That means the rural youth, they do not have any job. The agriculture sector suffers from the partial employment also. For most part of the time, most part of the year, there's no job. And for the youth, there's no job, and what they do is they migrate to the cities for doing any kind of job or facing unemployment kind of problems. So the startups for the rural enterprises would be encouraged. And the most important announcement in this budget is that of agriculture park. Must have heard about industrial park, export park. Now, what is agriculture park? It says that on the banks of Ganges River, the natural farming would be promoted. That will have the export potentials also. This year's economic survey has predicted a very good growth rate in the agriculture sector. That is 3.9%. In the last year, it was 3.6%. And our farm exports have increased by 25%. So how to supplement the income of the farmers? One of the motive of the government has been to double the farm income. The initial target was this year, but because of lockdown and others, it could not be possible. But this budget announced the financial support to take up the agroforestry. In the horticulture field, there is a great potential to increase the farm income. So this is what has been proposed in this year's budget. So I think that the focus is, if you see from the point of view of the jobs, whether it is agriculture sector, whether it is manufacturing sector or infrastructure sector. These are three areas where the main focus of the budget is. So I think that it will boost up the demand and it will sustain our growth. Because achieving a particular growth rate, okay, we have done it, but how to sustain this growth rate? If we have to become the $5 trillion economy, that means we have to have in the double-digit growth rate. How that would be possible? That is why a vision of 25 years has been put in this budget, and that vision is through creation of capital asset, and the focus is on technology and on agriculture. I think some other panelists would cover that, and this is about the introduction of digital currency. So this budget would be remembered more for that in this year's budget in 22, digital currency was introduced in this country. Cryptocurrency, everyone might have heard about it, and there was a suspense whether the government is going to allow that or not. So the announcement is there in the budget that RBI this year will make the guidelines and regulations for introduction of cryptocurrency. So these are some of the issues I thought that I would share with you. And I don't know whether it's a question answer session, but there is some other very pressing engagement for me. So I thought that I would
I
say
will be able to take Anil, don't worry. Anil, I'll take the question answers in the end.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
so
Thanks.
अगर आप है ना, as you say, otherwise
Okay.
अभी
No, sir. That will be, in a way reduce my tension also.
yeah.
So, with these words, I would like to thank again Professor A.K. Seniji, the Dean of your school, Dr. Divya Verma, the organizer, the student coordinator, the team, the participants, and my co-panelist also, Professor Deepak Tandon, my good friend, very close friend, and all dear students. I wish you all the best, and I do hope that you will soon become the partner in the development story of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your enlightened words would always be enshrined in our hearts. Thank you once again.